Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya.
Sarvopanishad Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Patavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are likened to the cow. The milker is the cowherd boy, Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers of that milk. And the milk is the supreme knowledge contained in the Bhagavad Gita. We are on the second chapter, 69th verse. That's page 203 for you. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. That which is night to all beings, in that the disciplined person wakes. That in which all beings awake is night to the Atman, seeing or cognizing sage Muni. So it's a simile, and this and the next verse also uses a simile to show one thing by comparison with another thing. So he's saying that which is night to all beings. That, what is that? Well, that means the knowledge of the self, which is the evidence of the Upanishads and brought out by realization. Now, let's say how many people are like that. So he's saying that night, as we know, well, nowadays in the cities, well, you know what night is. It's a continuation of the day, as it were, because we have lights and lights and lights. He's not talking about a physical night. He's talking about that darkness that envelops the mind. It is also called in Vedanta ignorance, ajnana, non-knowledge. And we know how people are so involved in these things, in the small things of life and even in the big things of life, of course. In that the sage is out, he is not there. Because when we look at this world, one thing is clear, there's an absence of something called God. We've been searching, where's that God? Where's that God? Yeah, it's got searching. Well, you're searching in the wrong place. That's it. Why? Because you're searching in the dark. This is dark. Really, yeah. But we've lit the whole thing up. Well, the darkness of ignorance. And this is what we know. So, night and day are likened to non-knowledge or ignorance and knowledge. So the sage has knowledge, and the yet to be a sage is still on the stage of non-knowledge. They have different fields of operation. Different fields? Yeah, one sees through knowledge and the other sees through ignorance. And the day is brought in, day and night is kind of brought in to show the comparison. Yeah, everything is nice and beautiful, and yeah, It's all enveloped in ignorance, all enveloped in non-perception of the reality. So when you see around, where is God? You can't see that God here that way. Because there's a huge kind of curtain, a veil, that's why I use the word curtain, a big thick curtain over our minds, and we are trying to see the world like that. So really, how do we kind of understand this field that we are living and working and breathing and dying and being born again and over again? It's all ignorance. A fundamental, you can say, impetus towards ourselves and the world is based on duality. And not only duality, it's just multiplicity. We are running around and that's the reason why we don't see that one reality. So the sage, is the sage like an owl? We are daytime creatures, and the owl is a nocturnal creature. When we go to sleep, the owls come out of their barns and they keep on, and they come. But it's not like that. This very world for the sage is that reality, and we see it differently. That means the causes are knowledge for the sage and ignorance for the rest of us. So that's why I'm saying that knowledge which is night to all beings, all beings, where is that knowledge? Where is God? Where is we? What am I? Who am I? So many things are there. Even that kind of knowledge does not flash in our minds. If we say we are this, and then we have contrary thoughts coming over and over and over again. Today I am happy, next day I am sad, and it keeps on going on and on. We just can't define ourselves. Why? Yeah. Because the further you go in knowledge, the further you can see things clearly. And the further you go in ignorance, the deeper you go into ignorance. That's the reason why in one of these peace chants it said, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. This darkness, this night that this verse speaks of is nothing but unreality, it's darkness, and it's non-knowledge. So, asatoma sadgamaya, from the unreal, lead us to the real, from darkness lead us to light, and from death lead us to immortality. So here he makes a qualification, that which is night to all beings, sarva bhutana. All beings? Yes, all unenlightened beings. In that, the disciplined man, here the translation is kind of disciplined person, awakes. Jagrati is awakes, does not sleep there. In that darkness is awake. And for whom, there's a qualification here, for a person who has disciplined or controlled himself or herself. Simple as that. So this is the criteria. A person who is disciplined, he will see this whole thing, this darkness that you see, as light. And that which is light for this person, the sage, is darkness for us. What is this guy talking about? We can't experience all these things he's talking about. He or she is talking about. Yeah, this like that ignorance has covered us. So this is the reason why we say that we live our life in a kind of a haze. we are bumbling about. That which is not really ours, we claim to be ours. And that which is really ours, we do not know. Nobody has told us that. And that's the reason why it's knowledge and non-knowledge. So, the qualification, like I said, a person, so the only, you can say, criteria for this ignorance and knowledge is self-control or self-discipline, that you can pull yourself back, not let yourself go. Because what happens is we are enmeshed in so many things, in multiplicity, of course, and one thing leads to the other and the other, and karma takes us and binds us. So in Vedanta it is like ajnana, kama, karma, non-knowledge, and then desire, and then karma. The karma comes and then comes back and binds us with this fruit. So we are as if we are being led by something. Who is that? Our own actions, our own thoughts. But then that is how we operate. Yes, you operate running around in a circle and not going anywhere. That's how you operate. And with all the attendant miseries of life, is that you operate? So there is, when you embody yourself, you have to undergo all these changes in the body and changes in the mind. And there is untold kind of misery as long as we are in that. The moment you awake, that in that person wakes. When he wakes up, what happens? Everything just vanishes. So in Vedanta, they take an example. So the person, Sri Ramakrishna uses the parable. A person enters a room and he knows his friend is therein, and it's dark. Friend is sleeping, of course. He touches the table saying, "This is not my friend. This is not him. It's not." He touches various objects in the room. Is going around in the dark, feeling himself a little. And then he touches somebody there, lying on the sofa, asleep. This is that. That is what we've got to do. We are bumbling about, we are kind of staggering, we are kind of lost, and then we are trying to find a way. The moment you know what you are searching for, then you can kind of wake that person. Oh, wake up. So similarly, now if you take that person which is outside, inside you, we are going around searching things, but the moment you come and in touch with yourself, your real self, you awaken. Oh, this body, oh, that's not myself. The mind is not myself. The senses, not myself. This I and mine is not myself. And then, oh, this is myself. Oh, really? There you awake. So, we must know where to look for that reality. The moment you touch that, you awaken. And that's the reason why enlightenment, awakening, and Buddha, these are all kind of metaphors for this knowledge. You awakened. He is awakened one. Buddha was an awakened one. Oh, really? What did he awake from? From the sleep of ignorance. Swami Premananda, one of Sri Ramakrishna's disciples, much towards the end, one day he was kind of meditating in the shrine, and he was meditating, and then it was time for dinner, and one of the monks, young monks, he goes and tries to wake the Swami. It's time for. And then he was not waking up. Then he takes a lamp in front of him, and then his meditation breaks. So the young monk said, "Were you asleep, Swami?" "Oh no. I have long put my sleep to sleep, and I am awake in the Atman. This is what it is. That person has put his sleep to sleep, already gone." And Swami Premananda is awake in the Atman. So this is awakening. So that's why you don't have to be an owl. Yes, we also kind of cut jokes. A person who's a little nocturnal, there are these two types of people. There are the larks and then the owls. The larks, it's early morning and they kind of fly about chirping, and by the time it's evening, the energy level goes down, and the owl then wakes up and moves around. So the more darkness settles in some people, they become more and more awake. Their circadian rhythm is like that, is tailored for this. So there are some people with nocturnal, you can say, they can stay awake. Anyway, we've got Shivaratri tomorrow, so we have to be nocturnal tomorrow. We are going to stay awake when everyone is asleep. Imagine. That's a good kind of great. Okay. So this person, because the subject matter in this is Sthita Prajna, one whose knowledge, Prajna, is established. So in one whose knowledge is established, this person has taken a long course in discipline. A person has now understood that you've got to turn it in. It's not just holding your kind of senses and mind and not letting them go out. That is technically the meaning of samya, that is control. You pull the senses and pull the mind and keep everything in. But in this case, what happens is that person has diverted all his senses and mind, his attention, everything towards his real self. So one disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Satyamayananda, so you know what, he was for many years in San Francisco, and he also, he had come here also to LA. Not here, somewhere in LA. He was kind of very orthodox, and he was a monk, great monk in the making. He was really a kind of great soul. So he goes one day and asks Sri Ramakrishna, so how do you control lust? He's saying, why you want to control it? Increase it. What kind of teacher is this? The first teacher will say, hey, control it. You don't have to do all these things. Increase it. See, increase it and turn it towards God. There it is. That same, you can say, energy that's going outwards is now turned inwards, and it becomes an aid instead of becoming detrimental to spiritual life. So that's what they want. You're not focused inside, you're dispersed outside, you're running about saying that is poison, that is night, that is ignorance, that is unreal. Come back. And when that person comes back, there it is. So Bhagavan Buddha, he was sitting on and meditating, and he became the Buddha. Buddha means an awakened one. What's an awakened one? He wakes up from this dreary dream of this world. We don't realize it. We are like fools dreaming these dreams of this and that, and and a whole lot of things. And like children, we have been running about trying to actualize those dreams. Yes, be a dreamer, you can achieve your dream and this and that. The whole world kind of lauds you. Yeah, see how he has done that? He has attained his goal, his dream. His dream was to be that, to have $1 billion, and now he's going for the second billion. Go ahead. And then later we'll say, that guy, he's an exploiter, nothing but. He got his millions, billions by exploitation. It's terrible. So that guy's dreams are now other people's nightmares. Oh, this guy is come. He's setting up shop here. He's going to exploit all of us. And that's what's happening. The world lauds you when you're more and more entrenched in this kind of superstitions and non-knowledge and the dream, this illusion. This person has seen the truth. No more running about. So for him, what is to us real, for that person it's unreal. He has woken up. He has put to sleep. Yeah. And so we have to just reverse this thing. So it's just the difference between a sage and an ordinary person. All beings, saying that which is night to all beings, in that the disciplined person wakes. So this disciplined person is awakened, and that in which all beings awake, we are awake in this kind of world, is night to the sage who sees Atman cognizing. He sees the self, he sees the Atman. He, she, whatever. There is no kind of duality there. So this is what is Yad, Nisha, that night. This is night, characterized as, what happens? We living in a city, or even in small towns, even in villages, we don't really appreciate what night is. You go to the far desert inside, and then you know what darkness is and what night is. You can't even see your own hand in front of your face. It's so deep. And not only so deep, it is a kind of an entity. It's like as if you're touching something, and that thing comes and envelops you, swallows you, and you feel a kind of a fear. And that I'm alone in this dark. Should I step on something bad, a rattlesnake or something, or maybe an owl come and peck me, who knows. And this is exactly what we are doing with our lives. Bring in the light. Sri Ramakrishna says, well, the darkness of 1,000 years is dispelled immediately when you strike a match. It doesn't go inch by inch by inch by inch. Oh, I'll retract my darkness after 1 year or 2 years. No. The darkness is dispelled instantaneously. This is exactly what happens in the mind and in the person when that person sees that Atman there. And the moment they see, there is a long kind of discourse in one of the Upanishads about light. What's the light? So one of the great king Janaka, he asked his another sage who was kind of friendly with him. What serves as a light for a person? Saying the sun serves as a light. Oh, and then by the sun he gets up, goes out, works, returns, etc. And when the sun has set, well, the moon rises and the moon serves as the light for the person. And then when the moon has set, well, fire serves as the light. Like we see the fire, there is one type of fire, don't worry. And when the sun has set and the moon has set and the fires are doused, then what serves as the light of man? Sound. Sound also is a type of, you can find your directions. Sound serves as a light for man. And when all these things are quelled, what serves as the light? One's own self serves as the light. So it's a long discourse called Antar Jyotir Brahmana, the light that's within. And this is what? So ultimately, this is a light. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhasi. It is that light which is actually illuminating all other luminaries. If this light wasn't there we would not be alive first. We would not be able to see. We would not be able to do anything. This light is self-existent. It's not that you've got to go and light a fire there. Oh, there, that's myself. I have to need a light. No. You don't need anything. That light is there, constantly shining, burning, illuminating everything. And why can't we see it? That is you can say that is the greatest mystery of everything. That self-luminous light is within us and we are not aware of it. Why? Yes, that is that. So we are simply fooling ourselves with all this tall talk and all these dreams and all this and that, and we are kind of heaping more and more delusions upon ourselves, and that light, as it were, feels smothered, blanketed. Hey, what's wrong with this? This is that light that this person, this Muni is actually a sage. It's actually Mananashila, one who is deeply contemplative. People say, now you got to be quiet. I'm observing the vow of silence for today, for 2 days, for 2 hours. Quiet. That's not the way. Why? Because there's always a mental chatter going on. That's not silence. So when a person is deeply contemplative or deeply thinking about a particular thing, everything becomes silent. His speech, her speech, the mind also becomes kind of silent and calm. That is what is called a Muni, a sage. So you've got to keep on deeply contemplating or even remembering that there is that great light there. And if you want leaders from the darkness to the light, who is going to lead you? No one said, you've got to lead yourself. You've got to retrace your steps. However, there is something called divine grace, and Swami Vivekananda himself says that you pray and, as it were, help comes out to you from the darkness. Can we do that? We pray for a multitude of things. If we can pray for light, pray for knowledge, well, something emerges out of the darkness to lead you back in. That can dispel the gloom that is around us. So many Vedanta teachers, they talk about, in the dark, there is no perception or duality, etc. We won't go into it. We just need to understand that what we actually experience is nothing but non-knowledge. And the same thing is experienced as knowledge by a sage. What's the difference? Well, the person has kind of turned his kind of senses and mind towards that light within. So why is this thing designed in such a way? Well, who started this design? Who fabricated it? I'm not talking about design theory, which is long knocked on the head. There is no design in this world. There's nothing there. So, who has fabricated? If we could have started from the very beginning as this way, then we would have solved all the problems of life. Well, what happens is, this is the nature of ignorance, of Maya. The self-existent one projected the senses outward. Therefore, we see things outside. A certain wise person desiring immortality turns the vision inwards and sees the great indwelling self. Paranchikani vratinat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratma kaschid dhira. Some person who has awakened first to the idea. You have to awaken yourself first to the idea that, yes, there is that immortality, that light within. There are some people who even don't get the opportunity to hear about this. We are fortunate, yeah. So, you first awaken to this idea. Yes, there is that light now there within me. But we are not, as I said, disciplined or self-controlled. We lose our control. Somebody comes and says, you are the most, you can say, stupid person I've ever met. And see what happens. We forgot ourselves. Somebody says, there's no one like you. And we forget ourselves. Yeah. And what happens? We are tossed because of all this. Even though we know that there's a light, but there is no real kind of control over ourselves. We are not balanced in praise or blame and joy and sorrow and love and hatred. We are not balanced. The moment we are equipoised, we are balanced in that, then there's a greater chance for youth. Because where the mind is very turbulent, it's very difficult to grasp it and bring it back. But when the mind has calmed down, you can draw it. This way, sir. Please, this side. Not that. This way. Aha! So, you need to just guide it. The mind with its, you can say, flow of energy will go towards that. So in the yoga, one of the aphorisms on yoga, Vyasa, that the commentator says, that the mind is like a river with a dual kind of flow. Flows upwards and flows downwards. What's that? So he's saying, Mano Nama Nadi Ubhayata Vahini. There are two flows. When you have the kind of the ebb and flow in a river, that means it is near a sea. When there's a high tide and the low tide, the water that rushes towards the sea is kind of now pushed back. So we are actually near a sea. What's that sea? The sea of light, of course. And sometimes the mind goes down towards that, and at times goes the opposite way. Hey, this is me, this is mine, and this and that. And that's the problem. So using the same simile, the next verse speaks about it. The verse 70. You're on page 205 there. Not the desire of desires, not the desirer of desire, not the person who desires things, but that person attains peace, in whom all desires merge, even as rivers flow into the ocean, which is full and unmoving. Now, that's another simile. Now all the rivers are flowing into a vast sea. We have in India we have sea. We have the Arabian Sea, and then we have the Indian Ocean, and we have the Bay of Bengal, three sides. Here you have two sides. One is Pacific Ocean and Atlantic. You have the big ones. So rivers have been flowing into these oceans and seas from time immemorial. What has happened to these oceans? Nothing. They are the oceans. They are as they are. So all things that you desire, you see, when a person was sage, you may ask, well, these things delude us. What about that sage who has awakened? Won't he be deluded with all these things? No. Sure? Yes. As long as the body is functioning according to prarabdha karma, that sage who has awakened, his senses and mind will function. And objects, the pictures of objects and everything will enter into the mind. But they will not even raise a ripple. While for us it's a storm. So they are like rivers flowing in the ocean of that calm mind. That is what is saying. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Not the person who desires desirable thing. Na kama kami. Not that person. Then what? That person attains, the other, the sage attains peace. What is peace? Oh, everybody wants peace. Everybody, yeah. Where will you get peace? Peace is here, peace is there. Peace be with you and peace be with all. Peace. Will? There is no peace. Simple, there is this whole world. As long as you are aware of creation, there is no peace. You think you are experiencing peace when you are just about to go to bed and sleep, and the sleep is overpowering you. Now the whole thing is getting over. Such a peaceful sleep. Otherwise the mind is whipped into torrents of, you can say, innumerable things. And so what's peace? Here peace means, even one of the Upanishads called Mandukya, Shantam Shivam Advayam. The Atman, the self, is Shantam, peace. Why is that? Peace is auspicious and it is non-dual, and that is called liberation. That is called knowledge. So when he says that person attains peace, but that person attains peace. What peace? What peace? Is a peace of the mind? So when we kind of crack jokes, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh yeah, we have three pieces. The piece has become so fragmented, it has become three. Piece, pieces, 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 pieces. So we say this peace chant, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are constantly attacked by three factors which are absolutely not in your control at all. First is, things are happening in your body which you don't even have a control, which you don't even know. You get a headache, you get a crick in your neck, you get a stomach ache, and your toe hits something, and you and you start howling and jumping. Wow, 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 wow. What did you do wrong? Well, nothing. Well, you have the body, and then the body does not give you peace. It's a source of peacelessness. No, it's not good. It's not going to give you. Then you're walking down the street and suddenly somebody comes and is walking past you and suddenly bumps into you, or a car comes and bumps into you, or you trip and fall, or a dog comes and bites you, or a snake comes and... It wasn't your fault. Well, that is terrestrial. That's also not in my control, not in our control. Everything that's terrestrial. Oh, it's so hot today. Oh, it's so cold today. That's not in your control at all. Can we do anything about it? No, nothing. And then there are higher things. Oh, that even those are not in my control. So there's adhyatmic, adi bhautik, adi daiva. That adi daiva, that is, you're walking and suddenly, boom, lightning strikes a tree and the tree falls on you. What can you do about it? Was it your fault? No, it wasn't my fault. Yeah. Then what happened? That's the nature of the world. So you say, peace, peace, peace. Kind of trying to ward off those factors that are coming and making you restless. So peace, peace, peace. That's why we say 3 times peace. But this is not going to stop functioning. This external world is not going to stop functioning. And these skies are not going to effort. It's a kind of effort. Peace, 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 peace. Okay, fine. But real peace, the real peace is within you. That is your very self. Why don't you attain that peace? That is what this thing is saying. So like the ocean, it's full to the brim, apuryamanam, and it's immovable, achala pratishtham, established, immovable. The rivers are flowing inside, for millions of years. Yeah, let's take it for thousands of years. Things have been, rivers have been going to this ocean sometimes and going to that ocean. They have sometimes a mind of their own. You have an earthquake and the river is diverted, kind of there. Yes. I'm not going to the Atlantic, I'm going to the Pacific. Let's go there. So, yeah. So, we've had ice sheets and we've had rains and we've had rivers pouring into that ocean, and the ocean is calm. So, this person, when he moves about, why does he or she have to move about? Well, that person moves about. He likes to move. Why? He could have kept quiet. I'm at peace. It doesn't matter. That person sees peace and experiences peace everywhere. So what about all this? Like we go to a shopping mall and see all those rows and rows of goodies, and we can't decide, no, this is kind of, I pick up one, I go for the second one, the third one, and we keep on, and you're hooked. They know how to draw your mind and hold it there. So suppose a person, a sage, goes to a kind of shopping mall. That person is going to experience peace. What about all these sensations that are coming in through the senses? Oh, they are like just rivers coming and merging in that mind which is calm, not a ripple, not a wave results from that. Why? Because that person understands all these sensations are entering the mind. They are not different from me. That person becomes so large and so holy and so sacred. It doesn't bother. It's like, Swami Vivekananda gives an example. There was a big bull and he was sitting down, and a mosquito comes and sits on the bull's horn. And after a while, he feels kind of bad. Mr. Bull, I'm sorry, I'm sitting down here. I hope I'm not bothering you. Oh, no, you're not bothering me. You can get your whole family also and come. That doesn't matter. That person has got so huge. You're not going to be bothered by these small things in life. So why? There, person has become. So can that person experience all this? Yes. So the simile is given is the person's mind, the mind of a sage who has experienced this Atman, this peace, has become so calm. Everything comes and pours in, and nothing happens. There is no perturbation. The person is not perturbed. No, it's okay. This is what happens to us. So, Sri Ramakrishna's, one of Sri Ramakrishna's sayings, there are mountains, hills, dales, valleys and plains at the bottom of the ocean, but they are not discernible on the surface. Akin to it, the jnani, the person of knowledge, in samadhi experiences infinite existence, knowledge, bliss. Modifications such as I and mine get merged in that beatitude. So the moment you have this I, this is I, and this is mine, then you are buffeted by these winds and these sensations. The moment you remove of this I and remove of this my, what remains? Nothing. There's nothing to kind of upset you. Oh, I'm so upset. That person said so and so. You are upset. Yeah, that's kind of because you're clinging to this I and mine. The moment it goes, it's gone. So like Sri Ramakrishna, there are many kind of hills and valleys and dales and all these things at the bottom of the ocean. But that peace has kind of flowed so much, it has covered everything up. All the valleys and plains and you can say hills and dales. So additional, you can say, sensations coming in, does it going to bother that person? No. So this is how we will take the next. We have a little time. We have almost come to the end of this second chapter. The third chapter is also very exciting. So this person who discards his I and mine, what happens? It is this I that holds on to this ignorance. It grasps it and won't let it go. It's so tenacious. Birth after birth we have been holding on to this kind of non-knowledge tenaciously as if it's my life. So here the next verse clarifies this. 71, page 206. That man, that person attains peace who lives devoid of longing, freed from all desires and without the feeling of I and mine. Here it is. Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumans charati nispriha Nirmamo nirahankara sashantim adhigacchati. Sashantim adhigacchati. That person attains peace. So, that person attains peace. He attains that self. He attains liberation. That person is awakened. What happens? One who has no feeling of I and mine. Nirmamo nirahankar. Without the feeling of I and mine. There is nothing like that. So what happens then? That person has just discarded. The moment you have I and mine, this is I have to protect it. Oh, this perfume is good, and these clothes are nice, and the hairstyle is good, and this and that, and this and that. The I is somewhere in the body, here, somewhere deep in the mind, and it is housed here. Okay, we can. And this house needs another house, and that house needs a garden, and needs a parking space, and needs a road, of course, where you want to go. And then it keeps on adding and adding and adding and adding. Well, you have a house. Well, I need electricity, I need heating, I need plumbing. You can't just have a house. I have a house. So it's a useless house. You can't live in that. So you need all the paraphernalia. You keep on adding. And then what happens is, oh, I need a chair to sit down, and I need a bed to lie down. I need a table, and there, we are on the road to accumulation. Yeah. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, an ant went to a hill of sugar grains, heaped. So that ant goes and kind of probably eats one grain and carries a few grains along with it. And next time I'm going to come, I'm going to carry that whole hill of sugar with me. Those are those big dreams. Parents tell the children, yes, you can do anything. You can do it. You can do it. And they come and believe, yes, we can do anything. This world is so nice, see the poetry and this nice blue skies and nice, everything is nice. And when they come and confront that reality, which is the external world, all that blue skies and all these things go away. And they have to fight every inch of the way. Nobody is going to give it to you. Oh, you're such a nice person, take this. Really? No. You've got to fight for it. So all because of that that thing that you are housing inside. When the person does not have that what becomes sin? Everything is mine and at the same time, nothing is mine. It all belongs to the Lord. Why should I kind of take all this trouble? There was a great, sage, Sridhara Swami. He wrote a kind of a sub-commentary on the Bhagavad Gita also. So he was thinking, he had a newborn son, in the sense of his wife had passed away. Probably giving birth to the child, and the child is there. Now this sage is so full of renunciation. What should I do? Can I leave this child? It will become an orphan. What's going to happen? That was deliberating. And yet I have to realize God. So he's sitting down. There's a kind of lamplight nearby. So he sees an egg of a lizard roll down and break, and a baby lizard emerges out. And as it emerges out, a small fly comes and sits down there. That baby lizard comes and gobbles up that fly. Ah! There it is. And I am bothered about who is going to look after this and that and this and that. Well, the Lord is looking after everything. That happened, he leaves everything and becomes a great sage. So it's very cruel. No, that's reliance on God. That is correct. We don't rely on God and we make a big show of morality. All our morality is nothing but immorality. Because all your morality is based on this I, this demon I that's gobbling up everything. And is bringing out such beautiful rationalizations. Oh, this is bad. Oh, you must do. You dismiss God. And God is dismissed and the I sits on the throne of God. Here, now you worship me. And we are worshipping that I instead of worshipping the Lord. So that's why he's saying that person attains peace who lives devoid of longing. The longing, freed from all desires and without the feeling of I and mine. It all belongs to the Lord. Nothing is yours. Nothing ever was yours. Nothing ever will be yours. So, Sri Ramakrishna says there are two brothers quarreling over, the estate, land. Land is a big problem everywhere. And when you have two or three guys fighting over it, you know what happens. So, one brother, he says, he draws a line across that land. He's saying, this side is mine and that side is yours. Okay. So we can live in peace. This is mine, this is yours. God laughs, says, the whole world belongs to me. And these guys said, this side is mine, this side is yours. And God laughs the second time. Why? When the doctor tells the young mother, don't worry, mother, I will save this child. God said, that child is already dead. And this guy has the audacity to say, I'm going to save that child. So God laughs. Life and death are in the hands of God. Not in human, not in the astrologer's hands, not in the psychic's hand, not in the crystal ball. No, all that is not there. So God laughs two times. Actually, God is constantly laughing. No wonder he is not been able to listen to our prayers properly. Because everywhere this thing is repeated ad infinitum. People are quarreling over land. People are making such a big show of, I'm going to save the world, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and without me everything is going to pieces. Really? Oh. There was one person who came at one of our centers long years ago. And there was Swami Ramakrishna Order. He was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. So he was in Madras at that time. So the person comes and he gives a long list. So, oh Swami, you should do this, we should do that, we will do this, we will do that. And the Swami keeps on quietly listening. I wonder what God will do without you. Yeah. And you're giving God advice now to run this world. Yeah, you better be careful. You're overstepping your limits. So this person understands. That person does not have any desires. What do you desire for? What? It's called Atma Kama. That person, later on we'll find. Yastu Atma Ratireva Syad Atma Triptasya Manava Atmaneva Cha Santushta. One whose joy is within, one whose delight is within, one whose, you can say, light is within. For that person, no work ever touches him or her. So So that person has got everything within. He is free from everything. So this person really experiences peace. We will stop here. There's a last verse of this chapter, but we will take it up the next time, next month. I think it's on the 5th, most probably, March. Yeah, just. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.